Hello everyone. Uh, gonna make a video about the end times. All right. I'm gonna read from Matthew 24. Uh, I'm reading from the English Standard Version, and well, here we go. Right here. Can you see it? Age signs to yeah, it's kind of flipped. All right. As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" It's a question. And Jesus answered them, "See that no one leads you astray, for many will come in the name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and they will lead many astray. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place. But the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Are the earthquakes not happening? All these are but the beginning of the birth pains. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judah flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop not go down to take what is in his house. And let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. And alas, for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days, pray that in your flight may not be in winter or a Sabbath. For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those will be cut short. Then if anyone says to you, Look, here is the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it. For false Christ and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. So if they say to you, Look, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. If they say, Look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. I'm going to skip down to the 36th verse. This is still in Matthew 24. Sorry. But concerning the day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark. And they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Who then is faithful and wise servant, whom his master has set over his household, to give them their food at the proper time? That's a question. The answer, blessed is that servant whom his master will find so doing. When he comes, truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that wicked servant says to himself, my master is delayed, and begins to beat his fellow servants, and eats and drinks with drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect, and at an hour he does not know, and will cut him in pieces and put him with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I was reading from, you see, this is the, I don't know if you can see it, hold on. Yeah, there's the Bible app right there. That's what I was reading from. It's clear what he says. First of all, no one's going to know. So when someone says Jesus is here, Jesus is there, don't go, because everyone's going to know. And, well, nation will rise against nation. So he also said, be ready for him. Be ready for him when he comes. What does be ready look like? I'm pretty sure be ready for the coming of the Son of Man looks like abiding in him, following the Lord, following Jesus, obeying the 10 Commandments, all those things, knowing the Lord. But to be really specific, keep your eyes on the cross. You know, some people may say, well, how won't I know? If someone says Jesus is here, what if they're right? Well, obviously it's written that you don't, because everyone's going to know when he's there. Everyone's going to know. So you have to be ready for him, because there will be those who are just eating regularly, who are just, I mean, who are just going out to malls, doing regular life things that you're doing today, going to work, and boom, Jesus is back. I mean, being ready for him is being clean, being sober minded. And I don't mean, not smoking weed or not drinking or not being drunk or not being high, which you should not do, but being sober minded, meaning spiritually sober minded, with you walking with the Lord, walking closely with the Lord, keeping your eyes on the cross, sacrificing for Jesus, living for Jesus right now. I mean, even if you're not, even if you don't know him, read his word, stay with him. One of the fruits of the fruits of the Spirit, the fruits of the Spirit is not worrying about the end times. Nowhere in that did he ever say, worry about the end times and prepare for the end times. He said, prepare for the coming of the Son of Man, not prepare for the end times. If this is the Lord's will for you to get shot because cops burst into your house and say, deny Christ, with a gun to your head, and if it's the Lord's will for you to die, but you're so swept up in preparing for the end times that you run away from him, well, you still didn't do what the Lord wanted you to do. Because if the Lord wanted you to get shot in that moment to be with him, well, then you missed it. And only the Lord knows what path you're not walking down. And, you may ask, well, how do I know the Lord wants me to die? Well, think about it. Why would you run? You are either going to run out of fear, which is the biggest, and you shouldn't, fear a man. No. You're either running out of fear that you're going to die, because there wouldn't be a reason to run. If a man broke in your house, if the cops broke in your house with a gun to your head and said, deny Christ, because what you should be doing is being with the Lord, praying, reading, or whatever the Lord wills you to do for that day or that time, and someone breaks into your house with a gun to your head, the only reason why you would run is because of fear. But if you trust in the Lord and his wisdom and his sovereignty and his all-knowing, and not believing in yourself that you running away is going to stop the problem when you obviously know it's the last days, if you trust in the Lord, then you won't deny Christ. You won't deny it. If it's the Lord's will to get your head cut off, then that's what it is. But the Lord said, prepare for the coming of the Son of Man. So you packing up 1,000 bags of fruit and moving out to North Carolina is preparing for the end times, which you don't need to do. First of all, you're not obeying the Lord. Now, if the Lord tells you to pack a bunch of fruit and go to North Carolina, then you're honoring the Lord and you're preparing for the coming of the Son of Man. You're preparing for the Son. But if the Lord didn't tell you to do it and you're doing it out of fear, because by the way, the Lord did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Fear being, I'm scared. Oh, I'm frightened. Oh, I'm scared of a little bee. That's an example of fear. The Lord did not give us the spirit of fear. So fear is a spirit ultimately. So yeah. So obviously that's not coming from the Lord. But if the Lord tells you to go to North Carolina with fruit, then you go. But if the Lord didn't tell you to do that, then you're preparing for the end times, which is not what Jesus said. Obviously, he didn't say it. He did not say that. If you're worrying, then that is a demon whispering to you, and you're not even on the right path. You should always just... The end times is gonna happen. You cannot avoid it. It is written. It is the Lord's will. It's gonna happen. But you don't worry about that. I pray peace over everyone that the Lord brings to this video. I pray peace in all the fruits of the Spirit, Lord. And Lord, I just pray that your light emit through, Lord. There is no time and space in the Spirit, Lord. So I pray, Lord, that your light shine through and cease all worry, Lord. But just keep your eyes on Jesus. Stay with Jesus. Stay in the Word. Stay in your house. If the Lord wants you to go to work, then you go to work. You just follow the Lord. You prepare for the coming of the Son of Man. You prepare for the coming of Jesus by being ready, because Jesus is coming for a bride that is spotless, without wrinkle, that is holy. You'll know if you're not holy. You know. And if you don't know if you're holy, that's a clear sign that you aren't holy. That's a clear sign that you probably aren't ready. But thank the Lord that He's having you question it. Because if the Lord is having you question it, then that's mercy. So thank the Lord for that. But, I mean, pray peace over every last one of you. So, prepare for the Son of Man.